I'm Katie,
I'm Kylie.
and this is
You're not paranoid. The ocean has been kind of cold lately.
the ocean's always cold.
That's not true.
Here it is.
Here, what? No. What I
The
was
West
going to
Coast
say,
is cold.
speaking of the ocean, my husband's going surfing right now.
That's when the sharks come out.
Don't say that.
Am I wrong?
You're not. That's the problem. That's the ish. But I mean, knock on wood, that'd be pretty horrible.
Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to say it. I just surprised.
Speak it. Don't say the word. What do they call him? The tax man of the sea or the landlord or something? I don't know.
Really?
There's like
I've never heard
there's
that.
different well, you don't surf, so bleh.
Ah,
Bleh.
I took a
Uh,
surfing class once.
weren't you in like Australia or something?
No, I actually did my surf class through UCSD. They had it as part of their gym, one of their gym classes.
Sweet. Did you put the wetsuit on right?
Yeah. Well, we also had a Sure Sharp, so they had discounted wetsuits. So I technically bought one and I have it. Do I fit into it? Probably not. Um, but I was
Also,
able
wetsuits
to do that.
change a lot.
Yeah, it's been many years now since I was in school, but also that was the pre-LASIK time, so I feel like that was a struggle.
Oh,
The friend that I did it with, we both were very blind, and so it was always like, should we wear contacts and see or wear our glasses and then they get like knocked off or don't wear anything. So I ended up just not wearing anything.
yeah.
So I didn't really get to see what was going on.
I'm very lucky in that my eyesight has been decent my whole life. And by decent, I mean I don't know that it's not okay.
Oh, you would
So
know.
so that's what I wonder, like
I
how
guess
do
I
you do
didn't
things
though.
without seeing? That's my point. Like when people who need glasses put on glasses and they're like, oh, everything's so clear. I'm like, how did you see it before and how did you live?
Yeah, that was me in like fifth grade. I think I told my mom because I got moved to the back of the class, like when
Yeah.
the teacher rearranged desks. And then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't, what does that say? And then so I told my mom, and then we went to the eye doctor, and it was one of those things where like, and you're a straight A student, how are you seeing anything? And I was like, I really don't know.
Flashback to Katie in the classroom. You're just like at the screen, like 2 + 2 = like Katie has the problem of just like getting up during class and getting really close to the board.
Yeah, they thought I was a teacher's pet because I was always like wanting to be at the board, but it was really just because I couldn't see.
You're always raising your hand. What does that say?
I was just
Oh,
really good at
Katie has
cheating.
dyslexia. She can't read. Like, no, she can't see.
Yeah, but it's amazing when you get glasses or contacts for the first time. It's like a whole new world. You could see like every little blade of
Yes.
grass and like
Like, how did grass look like before? That's what I'm
just
wondering.
well, have you seen there's like TikToks and Instagram photos now of like
What
what
they
it looks
do.
like.
Go look
It's
it up.
yeah, it's bad.
Oh,
Or mine was bad at least,
yeah.
but not
And
anymore.
now it's not. Yay,
I
modern
just have the old
science.
person syndrome of like I should wear my glasses when I am on the computer
Oh,
because it's like a little blurry, and they said that would happen as I get old.
I said that would happen. I mean, I think I haven't gone to the eye doctor in a very long time, but I can see grass and blades
And can you read
and
like the street signs?
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think you're fine.
at, I know I'm like, at what point would I need to be worried? And then, but I will say, even with like decent vision, I still like to wear blue light glasses
Oh yeah.
or even, and they have like a little magnification or even like reading a book. It just, I don't
Yeah, see,
know.
that's preemptive. So you're not
Mm.
straining your eyes.
Preventative maintenance.
It's all about the prevention, baby.
Dated and initialed. Boom, boom. Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks. I do my best. It was part of my SOP when I was born.
Nice. Yeah, I got my 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 genetics weren't ISO certified. Uh, I got some crappy genes, so thanks a lot, parents. But that
Yep.
was more just
Oh
like
yeah,
superficial stuff.
both of your parents wear glasses. That's right.
Yeah, and like gap tooth in the front,
You have a
acne.
gap tooth?
I did when I was little,
Oh,
but I also
gotcha.
sucked my thumb a lot. But I
Mm,
did have
like
just general
put your
like
thumb
messed
between
up
your.
teeth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have
Wasn't
I've
gonna
never had
say
cavities.
anything. No, I'm just kidding.
So,
You have no. That's lucky. No cavities is a blessing. Um, but don't count on it. They catch up to you as you
I know
go.
I'm going I'm literally going next week, so
Oh my
we'll get
gosh! Stay tuned. Will Katie
update.
have a cavity or not? Oh my gosh! I know people who say great teeth, but haven't been to the dentist in like 12 years, so they
No,
don't
I do
know.
my twice yearly checkups or
Great
cleanings or
job.
whatever.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. You look so proud of yourself. I was like, so pure.
I don't have much in my life going for me.
But I do go to the dentist twice a month.
I'm gonna
Twice a
put
month.
that
Wow,
on
twice
my
a year.
resume. No
Oh my
cavities, twice
gosh.
yearly cleanings. I
Like, I
mean,
won't even use my insurance that much. That's
yeah,
probably
so
a
you're
selling point
welcome.
nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Just include your, well, that's probably really illegal.
Yeah, to
Just like
start
put your
including
health
like all your
history.
stats. Yeah. I'm
Like a, make like a baseball card.
Oh my gosh. Can
Ooh,
we
that
make
would be
our own
fun.
baseball cards? That would be or like
Baseball card
if
resumes.
we were Pokemon. That would actually be kind of genius to make like podcast cards that were just like
But
instead
baseball,
of yeah, baseball version, but like of podcasters.
I like that. That's cute.
Let's make ours first. Any
And then
artists out there,
we can make them for other people and then that could be our business.
you're gonna do that.
Okay.
We'll call it we'll call it mm,
Trading pods.
yeah. Oh my gosh, excellent job. And
Thank
then
you.
we'll like trade and battle. Like between you and me, who I mean, we can't no, two co-hosts can't battle. That's like the rule number one.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
because that's
you can
not
make the rules for the game.
exactly. We gotta make the rules because we own this bitch.
Yeah,
Um,
I was never allowed to play Pokemon, so
mm,
it was
because they're evil.
I yeah, I think some sort of like maybe like gambling
They
slash
voodoo.
like devilish. I just think it's because the teachers and stuff didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Pokemon are the devil.
Hmm.
You're like, Pikachu.
I was like, I don't know, they're kind of cute. I
We
never
zoom
watched it
in.
or anything.
Pikachu has little horns.
Yep.
Too good. Too good. Yeah. Trading cards for podcasts. I dig it. Good job. Agreed.
Dig it.
Hmm.
Dig it up. Uh-huh.
By the way, we're
Hmm.
getting dangerously close to our 100th episode.
Oh. Wah, 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 wah.
I don't know. I feel like when we hit 100, it's like hair flip, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter where
Hopefully.
you've been, what you're doing, who you are now, because we'll have 100 episodes of our
Mm-hmm.
pod. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
it's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh.
I know, I can't believe it.
What are we gonna do?
I
Are
don't
we gonna
know.
like
A
we'll have
party?
to ponder on it. Yeah. Or like a live tune in. All right, girl.
How are
Or
you?
lady. Oh, me? Why are you laughing?
Because you got startled.
No one asked about me. I'm good. I don't know if you can tell, but I lightened my hair.
No offense, I can't really tell. But I haven't seen you in a while, so I don't recollect what it looked like before. It looks nice though. Did you cut it?
Here's the crazy thing. I did not.
Oh,
I've
wow.
never gone. Does it look like I didn't? I've
No, it looks
never
like you got
gone.
like layers.
Okay, this is what's so nutty. I've never gone to the hair salon and just got my hair colored, highlighted, whatever, and not trimmed.
Mm-hmm.
The first time she did it, and then usually she'll trim it while it's wet, but then she just kept blow drying. And then I don't really like when they do dry trim because sometimes I feel like it makes the ends too blunt.
Mm-hmm.
But she just kept blow drying, and then it was done, and I was like, I loved it. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, did you cut it? She's like, no. I was like, are you kidding me? Like I mean, right now, this is like day old hair, but my bangs looked all like the right length. Like, look at that. It's
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say it looks cute because it looks like you got like layers or like something. Like the cut looks a little different, if anything, not the color.
yeah. I think it's because she did like a little wave in my hair, but this is like the layers I already had.
Oh wow. Yeah, it looks really nice.
Thank you. I know my husband was like, not I know, but my husband said it looked like my hair is shorter. So the whole concept was just tripping me out. But anyways, I
Yeah, that's crazy.
like my ends look pretty good, she said. So she didn't even
Dang.
trim them, and I haven't been doing anything. I let it air dry because I work from home. So I'm doing something right with my life. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. My hair is so happy with me right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get my hair done before I go on vacation.
Where? Wait. Oh yeah, you're going to the East Coast.
East Coast. Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm. Wait,
so we'll see.
I went to a Padres game last weekend and they were playing the Philadelphia. I mean, yeah, the Philly. Oh, yeah, we don't like them. Oh, yeah,
We
you're a
don't.
Yankees fan.
Well, also that's like East Coast, West Coast of Pennsylvania type of thing. So we're from the
Oh.
West Coast of Pennsylvania. Philadelphia's on the East Coast, so we don't root for those
What's in
teams.
Pennsylvania besides the Phillies that would be a baseball team? Is there another
Wow.
Philadelphia baseball team that I'm like, don't
It's
look at me
not,
like that.
first of all,
Oh,
there's
no.
more than Philadelphia.
Uh-oh.
Okay. They
There's
get all the
fishy.
like
Wait, what else does,
history,
let me think
history.
of Pennsylvania.
It's
Nope,
where
that's
my family's
Massachusetts.
from.
No, I know, but I'm trying to think of where the specific spot that you're talking about.
Well, it's the city.
Nope, I'm totally lost. They're gonna say it and I'm
Black,
like, oh yeah,
black and yellow, black and yellow.
penguins. No.
Yes, that's one of
Uh-huh. You
them.
know what it is.
Yeah, that
Bur
song is about
bur
this.
bur.
Everything we do a
I'm saying
big.
bird because penguins are cold and they're birds. Bur. I want to say
Oh my,
Burbank.
you're
That's
saying
definitely
it.
Burbiglia. Bur. Burn. Pittsburgh. Oh
It's
my God.
come on,
Pittsburgh.
man. Yeah.
Steelers. Wait, what's Pittsburgh
Yeah.
Pirates? There she is. That took a
Yeah,
right?
you named all of the other sports though. So,
Too good. Berg. Oh, because I knew Berg was then. That's so funny. The Pittsburgh.
mhm.
It's the Pits, which sometimes
Yeah.
could be a good or a bad thing. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't see them. I saw I saw your rivals, the Phillies, and they
Yeah.
won.
The Phillies won?
Yeah.
Boo.
But oh my gosh, so get this. One of the players, I'm not even like I don't keep track of baseball really, but he was the designated hitter for Philadelphia and he's like a home run hitter, crushes it all the time, champ dude. I don't know his name. And he was up to bat and we're all like nervous. Not really, but pretending to be because it's a baseball game. And he was supposed to hit it out of the park and then the ball comes in hot. And he's like, I'm gonna pose, up to bat, and it hits him right in the wrist where he's like batting, like right in it where his hands are. I guess that's just he's up to bat. You guys get what I'm saying? Gets hit in the wrist and then like flops down, super
Oh,
dramatic. Now I get
brother.
it that Baseballs are fast. They're coming in hot, probably like up to 90 something miles per hour. I think that one
Yeah.
pitcher was throwing. And your wrist slash hand has not a lot of meat right there. So that definitely does hurt. I've been hit in the arm before. It was probably like a 50-mile-per-hour ball when I was a kid. Hurt like a mother. So I get that this guy was bumming, but that's baseball. You get hurt. Like sometimes that's what happens. It's not on purpose unless they're really, really good, right? And then they do it on purpose. But
Mhm.
it's not on purpose. And then everyone was like, oh no. Even like the Padres fans trying to be sympathetic and respectful. And then he stands up and, he's okay. And everyone's like worried. And he's walking off the field. He actually walked off the field because he was so hurt. He couldn't even base run. So he's walking off the field. Everyone's clapping. And as he's walking, say I'm him and the pitcher's over there, he's walking and he's like, there's barking at the, not literally barking, but like at the pitcher, and everyone's like booing him. So it ended up being like, we feel bad to like, you're an asshole. What are you doing?
Did they
Like,
fight?
almost did. He was like trying to go get the pitcher, and then everyone's like, it was an X. Like, I thought you were like, we said you like, yay, you're okay. And then immediately just like
Mhm.
gave attitude, and then everyone's booing him. And then he's in the dugout, and we're like, now it's awkward. Like,
Yeah, that's
now
weird.
what do we feel? We just don't like your attitude. So, anyways, long story short, we had a great time.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, hadn't been to a baseball game in quite some time.
Yeah, I like Petco Park.
Yeah. Wait, is it called Petco because of like pets, or is there someone named
Yeah. Did you
Petco?
not see the like dog area in the outfield?
I did. There's like a little doggy park over there, but people
Yeah,
were
you can
sitting
bring
there. I
your
didn't see the
pets.
dogs. I didn't have any
Oh,
binoculars. But I could
that's
see
the
a
best
green
part.
area. Good to know. Girl to know. Is that area free for people to bring their pets?
I don't think so.
The way it looked like it was free. Like
Mm.
it looked like open to the public, but that makes even
Oh,
more sense. Or else it would probably be way more crowded.
yeah.
Well, that's cool for anyone who's local to California.
Yeah, San Diego's a great place to visit.
Yeah. I quite enjoyed my time there. It was a turn and burn one day. Oh,
Mm.
and we stayed at that hotel that's connected. And so
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it was like pretty penny to stay there, but it was an experience. We literally just like doo 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 over the bridge and then walk right in. No wait, it was insanity. Totally
That's
worth
cool.
it. Although we found out afterwards you don't have to stay there, you just have to spend like $40 at the hotel. But we now know that we could take advantage of that.
Hmm?
Like food or something. So you don't actually like we thought that you have to stay at the hotel to take the bridge over and get that perk. But then we saw a
Oh.
sign that said all you have to do is spend like $40 like on lunch or something at the hotel, and then you can get access to the bridge to cross still.
Hmm.
Like 10% of what it actually costs to stay there.
Well, you live and you learn.
Cray cray. Yeah, but we had a good time. It was our friend's birthday, so we went big.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, enough about me.
Okay.
Let's talk about horrible things.
Yay.
Yay. By the way, when my husband was here, he's still with us, I hope. I meant here as in the house.
What like a weird transition. Like, let's talk about awful things. When my
Yeah.
husband was with us.
Oh my gosh. No. When he was in the house, right before he left, I told him, well, I don't want to make you spit out your drink, so I'll wait. But I told him, I'm like, hey babe, just so you know, we're gonna be talking about like murders, so beware. What I meant was like not be like I'm trying to warn him about the murders or something. Like, beware of who? I don't know what I was trying to say. I think I was trying to say, like, take caution to not listen because it's really bad, like, horrible. But the way I worded it was beware. And then
The
I left the
murders.
room. So,
Nice.
yeah, that was that. And now we are here. It is the
Hmm.
time. Let's all take a deep breath and breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. You are in a safe place. And today you are with Katie and Kylie of You're Not Paranoid podcast. And we are going to be
Hello.
talking about some pretty horrible things. So
Yeah.
you are not in the headspace for murder or true crime or all the other horrible things of the world. It's okay to step away. That's why we do our little intro, because you can be here for us. That's cool. You don't have to be here
Hmm.
for the story. But for those who'd like to listen,
Excuse
Katie just burped. For those who'd like to listen or watch, you also remember you can watch us,
me.
not
Hmm.
in a creepy way, on our
Yeah.
YouTube channel at You're
When we
Not
allow
Paranoid.
it.
Yeah, we consent to this watching, which sounds weird. Um, come take a look. See what
Take
you
a look.
take a what would rhyme with YouTube? Take a hmm. All the words that came to mind were inappropriate.
And not.
Cube and lube just like immediately jumped into my brain. So horrible.
And that's probably it.
Tube? Nope, that's not so much better
But
either. Well, YouTube is tubed.
yeah.
Don't be a noob. Tune into YouTube. A little
You're not
aggressive.
paranoid.
Yeah. So here we are. Okay, now that we've warned you, not that I'm the boss, but I think you should go first. Are you
Okay.
ready?
No.
Oh, yeah. And today we're doing something different.
Oh, yeah.
Today we
Today
are trying something new.
we're doing new formation.
Yeah. Format slash fashion slash formation. Um, what we're doing is one person, this time will be Kete. She says hi. And we
That's me talking.
so Katie will be sharing the topic story for the episode. I can't talk.
Hmm.
So good thing you will be. And I will be the listener along with the listeners, but I will also be the voice of the listeners. And I've not heard this story before. Katie did not. Well, I kind of know what you're talking about just because we kind of briefly discussed it, but I don't know the deets. So I will be learning about it with you, listeners. And that is that. And then next episode, it'll switch where I will be the talker and Katie will be the listener slash discusser.
Hmm.
And that's that in hopes of keeping it maybe a little more. I think sometimes we want to talk about all the things and it's hard to put all the things into one episode. So then we could feel uninhibited and do our thing our way.
All right. Um,
This.
so spoiler alert, if anybody wants to watch this documentary, um, so I'm going to talk about the FLDS, aka the Fundamentalists Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ. I don't know. It's the Fundamentalist Mormons. Um, I got back onto the Netflix true crime. Sorry,
Mm.
I feel like I'm talking too loud because these are very noise canceling. Um,
Did you toot? Is that why you're
no, there's so many freaking little like gnat things in our
gnats?
house right now.
Wait, are we in the same house? Because there's
Gnats?
gnats in my house too. And it was kind of, I said that earlier. I don't even know if you heard me, but literally I was doing this and it felt like we were doing it to the same gnat.
It probably is.
Ew. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh God.
Funny 'cause
Ah,
I can't see it. I just see you miming it.
it's so annoying. Anywho, so I've been watching. I'm back on the true crime Netflix documentaries because
Yeah.
it's more of an escape than having to deal with the current stuff.
Yeah.
So I was watching Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey.
Oh, that just makes me wait, ew, all of that. No. Mm-mm.
That's a song that they made the girl sing.
Well,
It's so gross.
no.
Anyway, um, So it's kind of like become a big thing, this FLDS stuff, and there's a lot of former like young women on TikTok who are from that um you want to call it a cult, religious sect, whatever you want to call it. I'd say it's more of a cult.
Survivors.
Yeah, so I remember watching like the Oprah show. She did an episode on it.
Hmm.
Um, I remember hearing about it while it was happening. So it's kind of interesting that it's kind of made a comeback.
Whoa.
Um, so yeah, spoiler alerts for this documentary if you want to listen or watch
Listen
it.
to us, but watch the documentary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can still watch it, but I'm just going to tell you. It happened a
Yeah.
while ago. So, brief history. Basically, back in the early 1900s, there was a split in the Mormon church because some were like, we don't want to do polygamy anymore. We want to follow the laws of the country
Hmm.
because polygamy was illegal in the US. And then another branch was like, no, polygamy is like part of our religion. And so they split. So today, like the main, in quotes, Mormons do not practice polygamy. And there are several different like branches that do.
Hmm.
Um, but this one is called the FLDS, the Fundamentalist Latter day Saints. They are kind of on the border of Arizona and Utah, technically in Arizona, but then they spread into like the Utah side.
Hmm.
And then they started moving to Texas when they were starting to get a little bit in trouble. And then randomly, there's also supposedly some in British Columbia, and then like different parts of like Tijuana, it said, and like Sonora. And it was kind of like
What about
random.
Florida? I'm waiting for Florida.
I didn't see Florida, but it was like
Hmm.
Minnesota. There's a small part in Oklahoma.
Huh.
Excuse me. They're kind of like spread out.
Huh.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Whereas everybody else is in Utah, I feel like, or
yeah,
mostly.
mostly. Yeah, or yeah, that kind of like
Uniquely.
strip Utah, Arizona, Texas.
Hmm.
Um, According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the FLDS Church has been designated as a hate group, citing the current leader Warren Jeff's opinions on quote blacks, women, gays, violence, and the end of the world, and called them a white supremacist, homophobic, anti-government, totalitarian cult. It's also been
Whoa.
referred to as a polygamous cult, and that little section was all from Wikipedia. Um, so they start off like kind of small, Utah Arizona border. They start building this giant complex in Texas, and they called the temple or the entirety of it itself called the Yearning for Zion Ranch. And
Hmm.
the people in the documentary kept saying El Dorado, Texas, but it was all one word. I don't know. I thought it would have been El Dorado. They didn't.
Yeah.
They're all white, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and the weird thing is, and the kind of like the cult aspect of it was like all the stuff that they ever built or did was done by the members of the group, and obviously unpaid labor.
Hmm.
Another thing was any person who had their own business like gave it up to the church to like then own. And you had to give like quite a bit of money like towards the church.
Like
Um,
tithing.
yeah.
Hmm.
Plus they were like very kind of like the Amish when we were talking about they did not um integrate into like the society. They were very separated. So I think
Hmm.
most of their like food and supplies were as much as they could were made or produced within the group itself.
Wow.
Um, and they kind of taught the kids to really fear, like they call them the Gentiles, like the people outside of their community.
Oy.
Um, and a lot of them like never even like had interacted with people until like stuff started hitting the fan. Um,
Yeah, which sounds so
there's
much like the Amish. I feel like that's where I get it sometimes mixed up in my mind
Mhm, yeah, if
because
you
it's
see the
very,
documentary, they look Amish. I mean, the
yeah,
men don't have beards, but I think you might like have recognized it because it was pretty popular. This is like the early 2000s.
yeah.
They wear like pastel, like prairie dresses. They wear their hair kind of like poofy and like weird braids.
Kind of like
Um,
old school. I'm trying to think, reminds me of, I'm gonna say the wrong word, like British Elizabethan. Well, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Where they
like
have like their hair in
Victorian.
a Victor. Why did I say Elizabeth?
Well, that's
Is
also
that
an
even a
error.
word? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that
all
was
about
before
history.
Victoria.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Victorian, like with their buns and the little like a
Yeah,
top
not
bun.
quite as like intricate as that, but it kind of looked more like 70s or 80s, like poofy. I don't know. I think you might recognize it. We'll post some
Okay.
pictures.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, very interesting. The, do do do. Yeah, so they don't know how many people, but different people estimate between 6 and 10,000 members.
That's a
So I
lot.
mean, that's a decent amount.
Yeah, that's a whole
Um,
community.
yeah, and so there was like infighting within this like group that had first separated from the main
Mm-hmm.
Mormons. And so this one particular group that we're talking about and kind of started to form in 1984 with a guy named Rulon Jeffs. Um, so the whole thing is that they just wanted to have a lot of wives. And so, and that this is where it differs from the other people that broke off because those other sects, like, they still followed like the Mormon like religion.
Got
Like
straight.
everything else is the same. They just
Yeah.
wanted to have, their
Polygamy.
multiple wives because
Hmm.
that was like the original doctrine. That's why they call themselves fundamentalists. But
Got it.
as you'll see, this dude like just really warps it, and that's why I don't think, or like that's why I think some people call it a cult because it's not really fair to like Mormons
Right.
to call them Mormons because it's not, they're not really following
Right. They're giving him like a
that.
bad name,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, so this guy Rulon Jeffs basically, classic cult leader styles like I'm the prophet. I'm the only one that can communicate to God and I'll tell you what he's saying. He
Yeah.
had 65 wives. Um,
What?
yeah, and so, you
Where?
know,
What state? And how did they?
yeah, so that is all very sneaky, sneaky. Plus, like in Utah and like the Arizona border of Utah, this is happening, I would assume, somewhat frequently. So they're not going and like the authorities aren't really doing anything.
Like inspecting, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, let's see your wives. And I don't think they're obviously not officially going to get marriage licenses and stuff. There
Yeah.
was one part of the documentary, I think they were going into Mexico for some of the licenses. I don't
Wow.
know why that would, I don't
Because
know.
maybe it's untracked. It's kind of, well, I just, why be wives? Why not just have like a bunch of girlfriends? Like that just
That's why I was
sounds like
like,
a lot of work. Not
yeah,
like, obviously it's not great, but just the property, I guess, just be like, this is my, like, I have all of these wives, they belong to me.
yeah.
Ugh.
Something about with like the afterlife and like that was their whole
Oh.
thing. Like their like thing was you needed to have at least 3 wives to go on or like to be successful in the afterlife. There was like different levels or
Mhm.
something. The documentary didn't really go too much into the like reason why, but I think it was because they were just making it up. They kind of
Right.
weren't really going off of anything. Um And it's like, whatever, like if everyone's consenting, like I don't like I guess you like whatever,
Yeah.
have more than one wife, but the true crime part comes in because it
Uh,
was first starting to come up that allegations from that Rulon Jeffs was have or had wives that were as young as 14.
oh,
Um but nothing
Those
really
poor
ever
girls.
happened. Yeah. 'Cause I mean, they're, like, indoctrinated and, everyone truly believes he's, like, the prophet of God, and that's what you're supposed to do. He dies in 2002. One of his sons, Warren Jeffs, takes over. Does that name ring a bell?
That sounds super familiar.
Yeah, so he is the villain in this story.
Oh no.
Um,
It's like you think the
the
dad's bad, here comes the son.
I know. They call the dad Uncle Rulon. It's just kind of
Ew.
gross. Um, so
Yeah, because then it's like, ew. Okay, I
yeah.
get it.
So he right off the bat marries all of his dad's wives except for two of them.
Ugh. Aren't those like his stepmoms?
Yeah. Like his well, they call them sister wives to each other. I don't know if they like call all of them mom or like how much they have to do in raising like all the kids.
Yeah.
But um
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And so there's also allegations that he's marrying off underage girls. Because the thing is, like, with their belief, is he's the only one that can marry off girls or like arrange the marriages because God is the one that's telling him who needs to marry who. Um, but in reality, it's just
Okay.
so that he can have the pick of whoever he wants.
He's like trading wives,
Hmm.
basically. Wow.
Um,
Including
and
underage girls. So
Yeah, so
insane.
I mean, like, it's very clear that this, like, cult or scheme or whatever is just so that, like, these gross old men can rape,
Ugh.
essentially, like, young girls. Um, and what he would do, so I think he kind of, like, took his dad's plan and, like, ramped it up. He would also take all of the, like, young adult males and, like, older teenage males and, like, excommunicate them from the community or kick them out for, like bogus reasons because if you have the young men around, then they have to marry someone, and you
Right.
can't be wasting all the young girls on these young men.
Oh
So
gosh.
that's when I think it started first, like coming out in like the general public because the local authorities were just like, now we have like 100 like homeless like young men out here. They're not really educated. Like we don't know
Oh, because
where
they've been. Oh, I got it.
we don't know what's going on with these like what the heck. So that's kind of like the first like red flag in the public
Mm-hmm.
and it's like really messed up. And then it's like when you're out like you have no communication with the like your family. And I'm pretty sure they're all brainwashed and he probably told them something like, "Oh, they did X, Y, and Z. That's why you can't talk to them
Yeah.
anymore."
Ugh.
Um
Just like the Amish. Like this is so. I suppose these are just like general tactics, right? Not just
yeah,
Amish or
just controlling the
FLDS, but
women.
yeah, cult leader tactics.
Yeah.
Rude.
Do,
Controlling.
do, do. Yeah, there wasn't really much that anyone could do, um, like authorities wise. Um, however, and so that was 2002 when he took over. By July of 2004, one of Jeff's nephews um, filed a lawsuit alleging that Warren Jeffs had. Okay, sorry. So there's like, I mean, we've already like kind of talked about it, but trigger warning for like sexual assault, rape, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So his nephew alleges that Warren Jeffs had raped him in the 1980s. He wrote a book about it. Um, and he claims that like the child's sexual abuse was like inflicted upon him by not only Warren Jeffs but by his brothers and other family members.
What?
Um, One of his brothers committed suicide after accusing Warren Jeffs of sexually assaulting him as a child. And then two of Warren Jeffs' nephews and two of his own children have also publicly claimed to have been sexually abused by him.
Ugh.
Um, so from there, just like more and more um, things come out. So the two of the women in the documentary, when they like I think they've been out for a while,
Mhm.
but one of them was married off at 14, and she's kind of the one that the authorities actually got to build their case around.
Mhm.
Um, so she was not only she was married off at 14, but married off to her cousin,
Ugh.
who was 19 at the time, and she was saying that had always been really awful towards her. Um, and in the documentary, she talks about how like they weren't even taught like sex ed, so like she didn't even know like what was happening. She just like didn't want it to and would like go to Warren Jeffs and be like why is he doing this to me? I don't like it. Like can you please like help me? And he would just be like, like that's the wife's like job. Like you need to submit to your husband and do what he says. Um so she eventually
Uh,
leaves and is able to escape. The interesting thing from like the people that are in the documentary, they're obviously out of the FLDS, but it kind of
mhm.
sounds like their not their whole family was a part of it because or maybe they're just the lucky ones because they're talking about how like, oh, I called my brother or I called like my uncle or something and they were able to come get me. So I don't know if it was like people that got kicked out or
Who
you
already
know
were out, yeah.
yeah. So I mean that's pretty like fortunate for them, but yeah, so that one girl in 2005 with some lawyers they were able to um put charge or what's the legal term? Like press charges
Yeah.
on Warren Jeffs because and this is where I don't know if it's like a law everywhere, but at least in Utah, um it's a crime like you can be charged as an accomplice to rape, and so that's what they were going after Warren Jeffs for because since he arranged the marriage and she was underage.
And it's
um
his cousin, like, there's all so many
yeah.
things.
So they're hoping that they could get him for at least those. So he was charged with 2 counts of accomplice to rape. But he goes on the lam and they can't find him.
Ugh,
The documentary says that he's like living it up, like going to Disney World, Vegas. He's ordering porn on the hotel TVs. He brings a few of his wives along with him. And they are like basically taking all of the offerings and tithings on a weekly basis to him. So like he's in communication with like one of his brothers, and the guy that was on the documentary was like we were giving him like upwards of $300,000 a week, and they were just like really like pressing people for money like all the time, but they wouldn't really
wow.
like say why. Um
Oh my
and
lord,
from
I'm
there,
speechless.
he gets put on the FBI's most wanted list in 2006. And luckily, later on that year, he gets pulled over in Nevada, and it was only because the cop couldn't read the temporary license plate number on the van, or like it wasn't like properly on there, so that's why he got pulled
Mhm.
over. And I don't know, I think they say in the documentary, but I don't remember like if he like recognized him or if it like when he eventually did run the plates, it came up. But either way, like that he got arrested. Um,
Wow.
Oh, when in the car, he had 4 computers, 16 cell phones, disguises, including wigs, and a bunch of sunglasses, and more than $55,000 in cash.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like
So,
that would also be if, like, everything else wasn't lining up, you're like, "Can I take a look in your van?" And you're like, "Okay, this person
yes.
is I'm gonna arrest you just on suspicions.
Yeah, something is not right here.
You're sketchy."
Yeah. He was driving with one of his wives and a brother, but
Mhm.
they were let go. Um, 2007, that just kind of gets worse for this guy. I mean, not that he doesn't deserve it.
No. Yeah.
Um, in 2007, Arizona adds 8 separate counts of incest and just said sexual conduct with minors. I guess that's You would think it'd be like,
Statutory rape.
well, misconduct, but I guess there is no right sexual
A
conduct with
sexual, like
minors.
sexual assault. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's kinda weird.
Like the legal term. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the legal wording is just weird.
Doesn't really do it justice for what it
No,
is. They say it too nicely.
exactly. Yep. So later on in 2007, Jeffs is convicted of the 2 counts of rape as an accomplice,
Mhm.
which got him 10, well, the sentencing was 10 years to life in Utah State Prison. However, in 2010, the Utah Supreme Court overturned that ruling due to flawed jury instructions.
Oh,
So, I didn't read too much into that because I didn't wanna go down that rabbit hole, but I feel like it's like, really? Like, and it's probably something really stupid, like, the way that they, like, told the jury to interpret the law or something was not, like, worded
or told
properly.
them to not to ignore certain admissible whatever, or
Yeah.
to pay attention to. I don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting 'cause I don't remember the documentary talking about that, and then when I was reading it, I was like, "SOA?
Well, yeah, because
What?"
then opens another can of worms. Documentaries are interesting that way, right? Because it paints the
Mhm.
picture that it wants the message to portray, but also like that alone could be its own whole series, like the jury of that trial. Can you? I
Mhm.
mean, hmm.
Yeah. But it doesn't end there.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so then kind of like around the same time, no, wait. Yeah, so I was trying to put this in like chronological order because
Yeah.
I feel like the documentary had some things kind of flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, okay, I'll do it the way that they did.
Okay.
So, um, after his, well, while he's still in prison, supposedly he tries to hang himself and goes on repeated hunger strikes. He gets put into a medically induced coma because of excessive hunger strikes. Um, but in so I think so separately in 2008, Texas authorities raided that Yearning for Zion ranch, to take, and they took legal custody of 416 kids because they got a phone call alleging physical and sexual abuse. The caller claimed to be a 16-year-old girl married to a 50-year-old man. Um, and she says that at 15 she gave birth to a child of his. Um, so they were there like all night, like questioning people, and they were kind of like giving them the runaround, like, "Oh, is it this girl?" And they'd be like, after they talked to her for a while, they'd be like, "No, this is not her." And then they would wait like an hour to go find like another person. Um, but weirdly, I wouldn't say sadly because it's messed up, but this ended up being a hoax. It was a 33-year-old woman from, I don't, I thought it said like from Colorado or something, like completely unrelated to the FLDS and had actually been known for
Mm.
filing false reports. Um, but while
That
they were
seems
continu
too convenient.
Yeah, but it's also, like, the way they reacted to it. It's like 'cause tech like, that specific person might not exist, but that was actually what was happening in
Yeah.
there. So, it's like, yeah, I mean, this person was, like, weird, but, like, maybe she was just trying to get the police in there. I mean, I know that's not legal. Um
I mean, I've been watching the show How to Get Away with Murder, and my brain immediately goes to they're trying to have a witness and then discredit the witness to then make you assume that everything else must also not be true. So that
Mhm.
would be like defense law on like the FLDS people if they wanted to try to make people not come investigate them to tell her to do that. Now I'm getting into conspiracy theory, but that would make sense for them to tell her to do that. and then they investigate, and then it's like, oh, actually, it wasn't even, see, it was someone not even here, and she does this all the time,
Hmm. Yeah,
right?
I mean, they definitely used it to their advantage, because the 416 kids, I think, were held for a decent amount of time,
Yeah.
while the like lawyers and stuff were trying to like figure out what was going on.
Hmm.
And by this time, Warren Jeffs was in prison,
Yeah.
like for those charges. So they're like, obviously, like something is going on.
Yeah.
And I think they had enough like to search and to obviously like keep the kids. But then the FLDS really like completely spun it, and the documentary, they were saying like the experts were like the FLDS never like, made any sort of public statements. They never like went out into the community, blah blah blah. But when that happened, they were on like every TV show. That's when Oprah came. They were like crying and like blah blah blah. They would only show like the women. They're like, we want our babies back. And they really flipped like the
The
public.
narrative, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, sexual allegations, what? And that was like just completely lost. It was all just like the focus was just like tearing like kids away from their moms. And the Texas Capitol, like the higher up people were like, we don't want this mess. Like we don't want to have to deal with this. And so they ended up like bringing all the kids back after a little bit. And I feel like that kind of helped their like image.
Uh,
Um,
I feel like neither of those things are the right answer. Like you can't, like it's, I don't like you can't just take 400 kids. Like what are you gonna do with them? I don't know. There is no great answer,
yeah.
but I just feel like that they shot themselves in the foot by
Yeah,
like being
cuz
so reactive.
yeah, one of the investigators was like, she was like, we were pretty upset when they like brought them back because we actually had like some substantial like steps. We had made some substantial steps forward in this case.
Yeah.
So she was kind of upset 'cause she thought they were get like putting all those kids back into danger, but they like
Yeah.
legally like didn't, you can't just keep kids for
Oh,
no
that's
reason.
so, yeah, that needs to be
Um
defined somewhere. That's so
yeah,
hard.
and it was sad hearing from some of the people who had left, who were like being interviewed for this documentary, because they were a bit younger at the time, so they got to like
Hmm.
talk about the experience like firsthand. And they were like so sheltered and taught to like fear the outside world so much that they said when the SWAT people came in, they're obviously like wearing all black, and I don't
Yeah, they
I
look
don't think they had
scary.
like their weapons out because it was kids. But she said, like, I literally thought they were devils, like coming to take us away because we were bad or something.
Oh
And it's
no,
like
then it's like
so
they
sad.
think
It's
they
like,
deserve it. It's like
yeah, they
reverse
have.
psychology, not like being helped, and then it like makes them believe more that they should be in there. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. And even for like the women who were like kind of brainwashed by this, they probably thought the same thing. And then that probably just really further like tied them to the FLDS.
Yeah,
So, it wasn't the FLDS taking their kids away. It was the outside world. Um,
right.
but speaking of that, the if any of like the older men became a threat to Warren Jeffs, or he just like paranoia, like, oh, this guy's gonna like do something, he would kick
Yeah.
out the guy and then reassign his wives and children to other men. Um, so I mean, they were
Yeah.
and that's what the one girl was saying, was like, she was like, it was such BS seeing them crying on like the Access Hollywood and stuff, because she's like, like we saw them reassigning wives and children and breaking up families all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and then she was saying one specific woman who was on a lot of these interviews, because they were being asked like, what about these allegations of underage like girls being married off and stuff, and they're like, oh, I've never seen that, I've never seen that. And the one girl was like, she was a midwife for this like 13-year-old girl, like
Yeah.
having a baby. So it's like she saw it. So they were just like completely lying, but I
Yeah.
mean the public kind of like ate it up.
Yeah, because
Um
it's a story that's sensationalized, right? And they're
mhm.
obviously going to they're not dumb. I mean, if they're this successful at brainwashing thousands of people, they seem to know what they're doing and they're going to brainwash everybody else with guess what? A brainwasher who's going on TV. Like if you're a TV interviewer, I don't want the person you select to interview. I want to be able to go into the the compound or whatever, the ranch, and pick a random person and be like, you're going to tell me what's going on for real.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just crazy too, like the same time your leader is in jail for accomplice to rape of an underage girl,
Yeah. None
but
of like,
everything's fine.
uh,
Um, but don't worry, it gets worse.
okay.
And then I'm almost done.
No, yeah.
So it kind of ends, and I think that's where the documentary flips because I think chronologically they talked about the raid earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but from what I was reading on Wikipedia, it goes like he gets arrested, they go raid the compound, and then um he actually gets extradited to Texas because somehow I don't know if it's linked to like the investigation they had already started, but somehow they're able to get onto the ranch again, but this time for search warrants. And they go through the temple and they say it's like really creepy and they show some like videos of it and they find like a safe or like a hidden room and they break it down, they get in. Warren Jeffs like had written everything down. Like all the marriages, the ages of the girls, and then there were some videotapes. And they play like very, very small clips of the audio, but it's so disgusting. He was taping himself raping a 12-year-old girl and a 15-year-old girl in front of his other wives and then
Oh
was
my
also
God.
like the some of the audio they were like playing, he was like teaching the wives or like about like having orgies or like saying it was okay to and stuff. So he's still in jail
Mm.
for that.
He's still
Um
alive. Oh my gosh.
yeah, so
That's
the
shocking that no
overturning of
one's
the no, sorry. What were you
I
saying?
was just gonna say it's shocking that no one has gotten there to because people who abuse children are often targets in prison to be
Mhm.
killed. So he must
Yeah,
be in a safe place.
yeah, he is still alive from what I have read. Um,
Wow.
so
Mm.
he was found guilty for that. Of sexual assault of a minor and aggravated assault, sexual assault against a child. And those were both the 12-year-old and the 15-year-old. He had married them. Um,
Ugh.
so that sentencing was life in prison plus 20 years and fined $10,000. So he is currently in jail.
$10,000.
Um, I know it's like,
If you
okay.
could have, if you had 300, if like $30,000 a week or whatever it was, $10,000?
Yeah, but
That's
I mean, to be
insanity.
fair, like that is all from his followers. It's not like that's how he makes his
No,
money.
I, kn- Ugh. Then he should owe way more than that is my point still.
Tax-free churches, baby.
Ugh.
Um,
Ugh.
but don't worry.
Sorry, I'm grossing out at him. It's like,
Don't worry. If you were wondering what happened to the FLDS, it is still it's still there. He's still running it from jail,
what?
giving like his sermons and notes through visitation. Sometimes he'll call in the church. So yeah.
Wait, seriously?
Mhm.
What?
Yeah, and it's like some more people have left since some of that stuff has come out. I think there are unfortunately a big number of people who are too far gone, but also like if that's all you ever know and you're taught that the outside world is evil and wrong, then then basically he's a martyr. And yeah.
Hmm.
He is first eligible for parole in July of 2038 when he'll be in his 80s.
Parole? They better
Yeah.
not grant him. I don't care what kind of behavior he has. He should not be released ever in his lifetime.
Yeah. And I mean, not that it matters, but his voice is really creepy sounding.
Mm.
So like hearing him like just throughout the documentary is like, ugh.
Yeah, you just well, also you
And
know
he
what's
looks
going
creepy.
on. Yeah, gosh, it's like oh, I wish there were I wish there was a legal way slash there were people who legally could go like undercover cops kind of thing into these and just get everything like realized and brought down. Like just Mm.
Mhm.
But it's also probably super dangerous to do that because if they're getting away with all this other stuff, who's to say they're not getting away with, I mean, moderate, like, self, like they're the law, they probably
Mm.
have their own like detectives and their own whatever, and they do their own
Yeah.
investigations and take the law into their own hands because if they don't assimilate with the world, they're probably doing other things too that are pretty heinous. It's like,
Yeah. Allegedly, or like in that the first town that they started in,
mhm.
is a very small community, and I think a lot of the police force were FLDS.
Of course they were.
So
Ugh. I have like finger marks in my legs. I think I was like digging into my leg the whole time. Gosh, that's so upsetting.
yeah.
But and it's like I mean, were you able to see if there are people? I mean, it sounds like people are actively trying to bring more attention to this to do something about it, or else there wouldn't be a documentary that got published and people are coming forward. So that's good.
Hmm.
But what now?
Yeah, and it's sad
Um,
too, like at the end, like all the people that were interviewed, it was mostly women. Um, Also kind of like surprise of like who tries to leave or like the people being abused.
mhm,
It's really sad because they were talking about like the two sisters, the one that testified, and then like her older sister. They were
mhm.
talking about how basically they were doing it because for their younger sisters. Because they're like, we know like what's gonna happen. And from what it sounded like that they were still in it, and then like all the other people talk about like who was left. And like the one lady who was a
Oh,
little bit older, she was like, I think it was like all eight of her kids. Like they
uh,
took them away, like reassigned them. Um, and so she hasn't seen them. Um, yeah, it was
yeah,
kind of
that's
interest.
hard.
Yeah, the documentary starts with this married couple. But it doesn't really say like if I mean, I guess legally they wouldn't be able to say if they were still polygamist. But it kind of
Mhm.
sounded like they weren't as like weird about it. I don't know. It was kind of weird, and then they didn't really talk to them for the rest of the documentary. But it was like I think it
Maybe.
was the mom, or I don't know actually biological mom, but it was one
Mhm.
of the wives and the husband of the two daughters that like the legal case. Ugh, excuse
Got
me.
it.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's kind of their dynamics were kind of interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, just like with our Amish episode, it's the same, right? Or similar, where if you're in it and your whole family's in it and you don't want to leave your younger sister, or family. Like you're never gonna see them again. So then there's that risk. But
Mhm.
uh it's really, really, really hard. Like trying to convince them. What if there was like propaganda that we can just like slip into the
Mhm.
FLDS, you know,
Mhm.
or like, or I don't want them coming after me. They don't leave their compound, right?
No, that's not like Scientology where they like
Okay,
actively
cool.
go after people.
Great. But they're not like the Amish where they don't listen to podcasts. So, okay. Well, I was gonna say if somehow someone were to like be Warren Jeff's voice and be like, I condemn we're
Mm.
doing now, and Jesus spoke to me, and we are no longer doing this. The abuse and everything else. I don't know.
Say what?
There's got to be something, or like the
Yeah.
next one of Warren Jeff's maybe like children just like rising up and but it just shouldn't happen. It just should stop. Like there
Mhm.
shouldn't be something that needs to happen to convince them to stop doing these horrible things. Like it just shouldn't already be a thing.
Yeah, and
What
that's
now?
like
That's what I
the
get frustrated with.
yeah, and it's like a sticky situation because it's a religious group, or they claim to be. So I think that automatically limits what like authorities can do right off
Hmm.
the bat. And if they say like, "Oh, we're not marrying off the young girls anymore." It's like, okay, I don't know if like they can like have things where they go and check on them, you know?
Yeah, there's got to be something that where the law overpowers the church if it's at a certain point, right? Just like all other types of abuse. It's just, yeah, that's a really difficult thing to prove. Although Warren Jeffs obviously made that real easy with all his documenting. Geez, that's insanity. Maybe
Yep.
someone else's maybe that's part of it. Maybe they are documenting it and they just have to find the other secret room and then bring everybody down too.
Yeah.
I meant like whatever the documentation is, or someone can leak
Mhm.
it. Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? It's like so much of like your life is just dependent on who and where your parents were.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God.
Yeah, and how you came into the world and the world as it was when you did arrive,
Mhm.
and what kind of people your parents were when you did arrive. There's so many things out of your control.
Mhm.
Mm. I just speaking of being alive, if this is a slightly like positive thing, I have a quote on my board and it says, "You are 1 in 400 trillion." Like the odds of you being here today is 1 in 400 trillion just to be alive right now.
Is that because of the sperm count?
Genetics, it's the no. Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean,
It's
wouldn't it be?
well because okay,
Well,
so
oh, but
even
then also
just
the combination of genes.
gestation. Yeah. So the odds of like your parents meeting and then your parents mating and then don't think about that too long and then your parents successful fertilization of an egg and then that egg and being fertilized to success and then going through all the stages of development and then your mom not your mom knowing that you're there and not drinking or something or doing anything and then you coming out and actually like surviving childbirth, like everything is such a process. There's so many the odds are not in, as you can tell, 1 in 400 trillion. The odds are not in the favor of everybody being alive, or else that would be the case, right? So just not to make us feel guilty about something, but rather grateful, like just to even show up and survive and live, like to be born and then live and then go through. Yeah, it's like 1 in 400 trillion. So At least there's that. We've done a lot of things. Like we survived some crazy odds, so at least maybe we can survive some other things too. Is that a weird thing to say?
No, I think it's appropriate for today's
Okay.
landscape.
It's just like it's pretty, yeah. It's pretty insane, but yeah, that's that. Um, did you see if there were any resources or did the documentary list any resources for people to learn more?
Yeah, it did leave a like resource page at the end of each episode.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have it written down.
We'll have them on our website
Yeah,
or
well
in
we can
our
have it, yeah.
podcast notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how to learn and maybe I'm sure there's organizations that contribute and or hopefully there's a lot of legal um people working on this too to get the remaining those who are the current victims probably of
Yeah, the
this
one has written
abuse.
a book. I know. I just saw her on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Um,
Let's bring her on.
yeah.
Hear hear what or
Oh,
maybe read
like
her book and then talk about her
yeah.
book like we did with our Amish episode behind blue curtain, blue curtains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it's behind the
the blue curtain. Yeah. Oh man. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of things to take in at once and to think that everything is still because I feel like a lot of our episodes are wow, looking back like that was horrible. But
mm-hmm.
this is like this is horrible. This is still horrible.
Yeah.
Ugh, but mm, watch the documentary, go to the resource page if
Yep.
you feel that you can offer something to these survivors and current victims, then please do because
Yeah.
it takes a village to end a cult, as
Yeah.
they say.
Yeah, don't join a cult.
No. Stop. Say no to cults. We
Mm-hmm.
just have a shirt that says that. Like instead of say no to drugs,
Say no to
say no
cults.
to cults. Say no, thank you, and F you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was binging a new podcast. Well, it's new for me.
Hmm.
It's newish. It's called It Sounds Like a Cult. Um,
Oh,
it's a little more not so heavy. It's things like Soul Cycle or
yeah.
CrossFit.
Yeah,
They're like their tagline is it sounds like a cult, but is it really?
right.
Um, yeah.
That
So,
does sound interesting because it's like Herbalife and
mm-hmm.
I'm
MLMs.
yeah. Wait, what?
MLMs. Isn't that what Herbalife is?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, it's the fancy way of saying a pyramid scheme.
Oh,
Mid-level marketing.
oh. MLMs for sure. That's funny. I'll have to check it out. Is it a cult? Wait, is that what this is called? Is this a cult?
Sounds like a cult.
Sounds like a cult. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good one. Yeah, one that's not funny at all and is super heavy is the Escaping Nexium one. Have you
Oh,
listened to that one?
no,
Oh
I
my
don't know if I.
gosh. I'm pretty sure it's by the CBC, the Canada Broadcast.
Yeah, the CBC's always got the banger podcasts.
The CBC's got mega bangers, and that sounds a little wrong. But Escaping Nexium is it's about the one I'm super bad with names of people.
Rainier,
Yes,
Keith
that
Rainier.
sounds right. And then there was like another lady who was a celebrity and she's in
Mm-hmm.
on it and yeah, and they like physically harm them, which is very, common among cults and it's just
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Playing
the
volleyball.
the what do you call the producing of it is very good because you feel like you're there and everything's happening and they're interviewing and it's super like on your edge of your seat. So it feels like you're watching a documentary, but you're listening. That's what podcasts do, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's a interesting one to check out as well. Speaking of cults.
Mhm.
Anyways, wow. We
Yeah.
made it. We
We got through it.
we got to the other side. And we appreciate you for those who stayed with us, listening
Mhm.
in and educating yourself and being educated with us. And that's all we can do, one step at a time. And also, it's that thing that we feel like the more we know, the more we can prevent ourselves, hopefully, and other future generations not repeating history if possible, and getting involved if possible, and all those things, as we say. That's
Yes.
kind of why that is why we're here.
Mhm.
And like, if people are telling you that they're in their religion or something and something doesn't feel right, or if you don't like what you're dealing with or something seems off, like you're not paranoid, like it's probably not right.
Mhm.
If it feels mentally, physically, spiritually wrong, trust it.
Yes.
Like almost nothing bad can come from leaving a cult. Is that a true statement?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it's better to leave.
Yeah, I'd be like, "No, thank you."
I mean, I guess like it's not that easy. I'm not
No.
stupid, but
No, you're
I don't
talking
know.
more though if you come across something, not if like you're
Yeah,
in
if
it.
you come across it, or if you're in it, or someone's even like, yeah, this sounds like a cult. Like if it doesn't feel right, sound right, don't be pressured. Like it's okay to not join.
Mhm.
There are other nice people in the world. You don't need to be with those who, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. They're probably
Mhm.
trading something that they want from you for something that they're offering. I don't know. I'm done. That's it. I just I feel really protective and I don't know what to do about it.
I
And
know. It's hard.
it's not that easy, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. Well, thank you for listening,
Yes, thank you.
and we will see you next week.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.